A day that changed everything. I still remember where I was when September 11th happened. It was a day that shifted the course of history for so many of us. I was just a sophomore in college, sitting in my dorm room, completely unaware that life was about to change forever. That morning started pretty typical. I had an early class on psychology, and I was running a bit late. My roommate Sarah was already up, glued to her laptop, but I was more focused on grabbing my coffee. I remember her saying something about the news, but I shrugged it off, thinking it was just another boring update. As I hurried out, I noticed a few students in the common area. Some were talking in hushed tones while others looked genuinely panicked. I didn't think much of it until I walked into class. The professor was late, which was unusual, and the usual chatter was replaced by a tense silence. Then, someone peeked into the room and whispered, "A plane hit the World Trade Center." I remember my heart dropping. At first, I thought it was a small plane, maybe an accident. But as we gathered in front of the TV in the lounge, we were all stunned. I watched in disbelief as the second tower was hit. People were crying, some were trying to call family, but the lines were jammed. The atmosphere was thick with fear and uncertainty. You could feel the collective anxiety in the air. After a few hours, it became clear this was no accident. I remember a friend named Mark, who had family in New York, pacing back and forth, his face pale. We all tried to comfort him, but we felt just as helpless. The gravity of what was happening began to sink in. I felt a mix of fear and anger boiling inside me, not knowing how to process it. Classes were canceled for the day, and we all gathered in front of the large screen in the common area, our eyes glued to the news updates. I can still picture the faces of my friends, some silently crying, others just staring in disbelief, as the reports of the Pentagon attack came in. It was surreal. It felt like a movie, something that could never actually happen in real life. As the day went on, we learned about the heroes on Flight 93, the brave first responders, and the unimaginable loss of life. We held hands and prayed as a group, trying to find solace in each other. I remember my phone finally ringing. My mom. She was worried sick since she couldn't reach me earlier. Hearing her voice made it all feel more real. We talked for hours, sharing fears and confusion, but also a sense of unity. By the end of the day, I was exhausted both physically and emotionally. I didn't sleep well that night. I kept thinking about how fragile life is and how we often take our safety for granted. In the following days, we all came together as a community. We held candlelight vigils and shared our thoughts and feelings. It was heartbreaking, but also beautifully human, seeing everyone united in grief and support. Looking back, I realized that moment shaped my perspective. It brought about a sense of urgency to appreciate the little things and the people around me. It reminded me of how important it is to have compassion and to stand together in tough times. So, where were you when September 11th happened? What do you remember about that day? I'd love to hear your stories in the comments below.